Hello children, I'm your science teacher Tilak and I want you to subscribe the channel so that you get the notification of my latest video and you can continue with your studies. Let us start the lesson. So children, this chapter number 9, Habitat of Living, part 3, September month, video number 12. We are going to study about the largest habitat, that is ocean. And we will also study about lake and pond, how different varieties of plants and animals are adjusted and adapted here. We will also learn the difference between acclimatization and adaptation, and also why adaptation is important. So children, as ocean is the largest habitat, so it is obvious that there will be wide varieties of fishes. There are sea animals like squid, octopus, dolphin, whales, shark, etc. Not only this, there are large varieties of invertebrates, that animals or organisms without vertebral column. It means we are vertebrates and they are invertebrates. We also find mollusks and corals over there. Now see, this is dolphin. It has streamlined body and it has fins also. This feature helps them to move swiftly in water bodies, right? They can cut the ocean currents. Now, these coral reefs, these are unique habitat because there are wide varieties of fishes as well as many kinds of invertebrates. Now, children, observe the features of this fish. It is streamlined, it has different types of fins. The tail fins acts like rudder and helps in the change of direction when they move in water. This is largest invertebrate. Although it does not have streamlined body, but when it moves, it collects the body parts in such a way that makes it streamlined and moves swiftly in water. Now, what are the common adaptive features? All water animals have streamlined body, which helps them to cut through the water currents, and the presence of different types of fins help them to move fast and also to change direction in the water. Gills provide the large surface area for the gaseous exchange for respiration, and dolphin and whales do not have gills. Then how do they breathe? They have blowholes or nostrils. Now you can see that this is whale, and this whale has blowholes. Nostrils like a structure is there. So when they are deep down into the water, they can hold their breath. It means that they can hold their breath for a long duration of time. And how do they breathe? When they come up on the surface of water, they breathe through the nostrils. And when they breathe, they will blow water and it looks like fountain over its head. Now you see, it's a beautiful, it's a beautiful dolphin, and it has bluish gray upper body and under it is white. Now the cuttlefish, when it senses any danger, it will throw some ink in the water and cover itself, and either it hides or it runs away from its enemy. Yes, this is how the defense mechanism is developed by this small cuttlefish, right? The common adaptive features. The body of these water animals are covered with scales. It does not allow their body to decay in water. Not only this, some fishes like bony fishes have air bladders, which gives them buoyancy and helps them to float in water. They can keep on floating in the water. They are not like whales that they will go deep down into the, so they are floating in the water because of these air bladders. Now, children, we will study about the pond and lake. Again, another kind of aquatic habitat. There also some animals and plants are very efficiently adapted to the surrounding. You might have observed some of them. Yes, they are available around our habitat. One of the very common one is water hyacinth. You will see, yes, you might have seen these kind of plants with purple flower. Yes, most of the time we see them in the water bodies. Yes, they are just floating on the surface of the water. Yes, so there are one more. If you will observe carefully, you will see there is cabbage like structure. Yes, this is known as water cabbage. It is again present on the surface of water, isn't it? So you can see it is the adaptation among these plants which help them to float on the surface of water. See how they float, because their stem or the petiole is spongy or bulbous, which are filled with air. It makes them lighter and they are just floating on the surface of water. So children, this is the adaptation, right? This is the adaptation amongst the water plants. Now see, this is the picture of water hyacinth. See it very carefully. How spongy and bulbous is their stem. Yes, if you come across, you can try touching it and you will find that it is spongy. Spongy because it is filled with filled with air, and it makes them lighter and keeps them floating on the surface of water. So this is water hyacinth. You can identify this plant anywhere in the water body. So we can now categorize them as submerged, free floating, or free leaved rooted. Now submerged are the plants which are completely underwater, like hydrilla, and free floating means they are floating on the surface of water freely, like water hyacinth. And some are rooted, like lotus plant. Lotus plant has long stem which goes down deep into the soil in the pond's base. Now this is lotus, and if you will observe its leaves, these leaves are flattened and they also float on the surface of water. Now this is the stem. See, it is hollow. This is water lily. Water lily also, they have large leaves. These are flattened leaves, which also helps these plants to float on the water, as well as they provide large surface area for trapping solar energy. Why solar energy? Yes, of course, for the process of photosynthesis. As I told you, the lotus also floats on the surface of water because it has flattened leaf and also long stalks, or you can say long stem. Now, significance of these adaptations in the plant is they can remain afloat. Afloat means they keep floating on the surface of water, which helps them to protect themselves from decay and stagnant water, and also adapt themselves from the water current. Yes, they are not damaged by the water currents. Now time to study about different types of animals which live in both land and water. Do you remember water? Okay, now these are different types of frogs. Frogs, crocodile, turtles or tortoise, they all live on the surface of land, on the land as well as in the water, right? You know, the hydrilla, very small plants, they have finger-like leaves, and Vallisneria, they have ribbon-like leaves. They are very tender and delicate and flexible. So how it is useful? They are not damaged by the water currents. Yes, they can resist the water currents and they are protected from the damage, right? Now, what is adaptation? Adaptation is little bit different than acclimatization. When adaptation occurs, the chemical and physical composition of the organism will change, and it is the permanent one, and it is passed on to one generation to next generation. Like fishes can survive only in water, whereas camel survives in the dry, hot climate of desert. So if we'll make changes in their habitat, will they survive? No. So, you know, there are different types of adaptations observed, and it passes from one generation to next generation. These kind of adaptations are either structural or functional, or it is behavioral. Some birds are found to migrate from one place to another, right? So it helps them to withstand the hard climatic condition. So it is a kind of adjustment and long-term adjustment. But the acclimatization is little bit different. Different means it's a short term. So when you enter from outside after playing cricket or something in the dark room, or little inside the room, then what happens? You are not able to see clearly. Yes, after sometimes you are able to see. And similarly, during winters, you feel very cold and you start shivering. And when you put on clothes, you feel comfortable. It means the shivering and the adjustment when you come from outside, inside the dark room or inside the room, the adjustment takes place in the body parts. So this is just a momental or for a few short time period. So this is acclimatization. So you can understand how adaptation and acclimatization are different. But why the adaptation? Is it, we are willing to adapt ourselves, or it happens by itself? Yes, it happens by itself. It is unconscious. So if we will not adjust to the climate, we will be perished, or we will just disappear. Yes, our race will disappear. But it is not like that. We are still surviving and will go long way ahead. But can you tell me the name of a bird which is mentioned in the book, which could not adjust in the environment and just died? Okay, mention in the comment box.